Welcome to the Torrent This podcast with VELUDO. I am Dando. Now, before we get into things, I'd just like to ask you guys a couple of favors. Since I run this show completely voluntarily, can you please like us on Facebook, facebook.com/torrentthis, follow us on Twitter at torrentthis, and subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/user/torrentthisTV. We'd really appreciate the support, guys. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the Torrent This podcast with VELUDO.
Hi, this is Gab from VELUDO, and you're listening to Torrent This with Dando. Check it out.
It's the Torrent This podcast. I am Dando. Now, today my guest is a member of a band who are taking the local scene by storm with the release of their debut self-titled EP. Contains the new single Stay Young, and they're set to head out on a national tour, which includes 2 gigs in Melbourne at the Evelyn in Fitzroy on April 4th and at the Cherry Bar on April 23rd. They are VELUDO, and I'm lucky to be joined by their very handsome frontman, Gab. How are we, sir?
How are you, mate? Thanks for the love. How you doing?
You're a very good-looking man. Don't put yourself down.
Oh, okay. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much, mate.
I don't give that out too many, man. Don't worry. So it's been a busy weekend for you, Rock the Bay. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. You know, it was for us. It was kind of a last-minute thing. Our band pulled out. We got asked to play, and we were really fortunate, obviously, to play at a festival that's building a bit of like an iconic, sort of spot in the annual calendar in Melbourne. So we were lucky to get on there and just experience it, and we had a great time and kind of set us in good stead for our shows here in Perth coming up this weekend.
Who pulled out?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't have a clue.
They should be your new best friends.
Yeah, I guess again you're right. You know, we love the Espy, and it's sort of become a bit of a home ground for us in Melbourne, and it was just a great opportunity to be part of that festival and see some awesome bands as well.
I wanted to go, but it was mine and Nicola's wedding anniversary, so I sort of stuck here.
Congratulations, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. No, it was really good, yeah. So it's all happening for you at the moment. The EP's been out for a while. It's about a week and a half now? So is it still are you still like in release mode kind of thing, like excitement and shit?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much in release mode. It's only been like a week and a bit, and so far it's been an all positive response from people, and you know, we're really excited to now get out there and sort of build a new audience and really connect with our listeners.
Yeah.
So the national tour, which, like I said, we start here in Perth this weekend with our launch at the Rosemount Hotel and a festival the day after at the Throwing of the Grapes. So it's kind of exciting and kind of anxious at the same time, all those emotions, because we don't know how people will respond, you know. But, but we hopefully, like I said, it's been a positive response so far to the EP. Hopefully that'll translate live. I'm sure it will, because we really pride ourselves on to be able to deliver a good live performance.
Yeah, I checked out all the stuff on like your Facebook page, like the new video and everything, and all the comments seem to be positive. So you must be doing something, right?
Yeah, it's been really good, and that was the video was so much fun to make.
Yeah.
It's good that people are like I said, responding to it well.
How's life anyway, man? We haven't spoken in ages.
I know. It's been a long time. I think Gasoline Inc. was the last time we spoke, which is our previous band.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, that kind of ran its course, and we're in a position where the music was changing, actually, which is why I guess Gasoline sort of stopped. But we were evolving into this new sound, and we made a decision to rebrand, you know, and then come up with this new band or entity, if you will, called VELUDO, which is a little bit more experimentative than what Gasoline was. And we wanted to have that freedom to explore some areas of sound and music that we hadn't previously. So hence VELUDO was born, mate. And we're really enjoying it, the freedom, and it's good to be able to chat with you again about it, because it's a new sound.
Be honest, it's never good
direction.
to chat. It's never good to chat to Dando.
Yeah, it's always great to chat with you. You know? I should have you on speed dial, actually, and we can bring you up when I'm having, in a bit of a slump, and we can just chat.
I was kind of wondering why you weren't already doing this.
I wasn't cheating on you. I promise.
Okay. I wouldn't mind if you were. I wouldn't mind. Is the VELUDO EP? Is that kind of like what the vision was for you back in the Gasoline Inc. days? Was it sort of like, okay, this is what I actually wanted to do?
You know what? I think VELUDO is more reflective of who I am and who the band are as individuals, like from a, I guess, truer sense. Like Gasoline was like the first kind of installment, you know. We went on this journey about let's just get the songs out there, it's rock and roll, and trying to, live a rock and roll kind of dream. But when he got down to it, you know what, that's not real. This whole idea of, rock and roll and party and having fun is cool, but it's really who you are. You know, I found that out. I guess it took a couple of years, but VELUDO is more about the music. You know, it's not about creating this kind of facade, I guess you could almost call it. And a lot of bands fall into this trap. I've noticed. You know, let's start a rock band, and the thing they think is, okay, we've got to drink piss, we've got to be with girls, we've got to tour, we've got to have fun, and you forget about the music. You know, and again, it's not really who you are. It's more of an ego-driven thing. It's about what you think you need to be, and that's what VELUDO isn't. VELUDO is we just are who we are. We've got that freedom to explore songs. We're a lot more open to sounds, ideas, bands, everything, you know, and in life in general. And I think that's happened to us collectively and individually. So it's a really cool step. And we're having a lot of fun doing it.
How hard is it to rebrand?
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like letting go of something that you've sort of built up, or it could be a relationship, it could be anything. It's really difficult to sort of say, you know what, we're going to let that go.
Yeah.
But as is the case, a lot of the times by doing that, you liberate yourself, you know, and you let other things come in, and that's what happened. You know, it was hard because we did build Gasoline up to a point where, you know, we could go back to Perth and we could still pull a good crowd, and we're making some good inroads here in the East Coast. And to come to that decision was a difficult thing, but at the same time, like I said, it gave us that opportunity to go, oh, we're going on this path now, and we're letting more things come to us. So it was difficult at the start, but it was still a lot better for it. And it didn't take long for us to build VELUDO up quickly, you know, and we had to be patient with it and understand that it wasn't just going to be something that happened straight away. But like I said, once the decision was made, it wasn't very hard to let go.
Yeah, you've already got like 12,000 likes. You're killing it.
Yeah, well, that was, you know, we decided whilst we weren't gigging, because we was trying to build a set, you know, we pretty much scrapped all the Gasoline songs, so we had to start from scratch. And we sort of played it, you know, social media is such an important medium now for bands that we thought, okay, well, while we're not gigging as much, we need to really be working our social media. And, you know, we started doing ads, you know, paying for ads on Facebook to connect with people.
Is that worth it?
I think it is. I think in the past we hadn't. You know, it's like the way Facebook's set up now, it's like, no matter how many people you build, at some point or another, you're going to have to go back in there again and sort of reconnect with them. And the only way you can do that was by like ads and sponsoring posts, you know, because, and you either do it or you don't, you know, and if you want to really connect with them, you've got to do it. And we found that that's worked really well for us, and also gave us an opportunity to grow our audience overseas. Yeah. Because we released Awaken in July last year, and you know that was just a free downloadable single. But we pushed that overseas internationally, and that's given us, like I said, that opportunity to build that fan base online. So that when we did release the CP, we already had an audience. We weren't starting from scratch. So that was what last year was about. It was about laying down the foundations and being smart about it, not trying to rush too far out. Just going, let's just build it here, and then when we're ready, we'll go. And that's where we're at now. We're just at that level of let's get out there now and showcase these songs.
Was it a case of a few things sort of building up to the point where you thought, you know, fuck it, let's change the band name and completely rebrand, or was it sort of just a spur of the moment kind of decision?
No, it was building up to that, Dano. It was like we had our guitarist at the time from Gasoline. He decided to leave the band. Yeah. And you know that's fair enough, but it put us in a situation where Jason, who was our bass player at Gasoline, he's actually a guitarist first and foremost. Okay, so cool. He took over those reins, and obviously he's a totally different player. He works a lot, you know, does some amazing stuff with the electronic and sampling and things like that. He started bringing these elements in. So the sound just shifted, and it wasn't Gasoline anymore, you know, even though it was predominantly the same members, the sound was just totally different, and we couldn't ignore that. We had to flow with it, and it meant changing the direction and the branding. So that's where we're at, yeah.
Because with the new tracks, I wouldn't really call yourselves a rock and roll band anymore, would you?
No, not at all. We're alternative rock, I guess, is what I think we kind of call ourselves. It's the best term we can come up with. Yeah. Which means that, I mean, we still play your traditional guitars, bass and drums and vocals, but we're introducing elements that yeah, it's not rock and roll as much anymore. It's more, it's what we can do with the technology as well that we've got in front of us. Because a lot of the time, we were, as Gasoline, we were a bit afraid to venture down that path because it was like, oh, that's not real music, or you had this kind of notion that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
But once you remove that barrier, it's kind of like, well, it is music. You're creating it. You're just using a different medium.
Mm.
So it was a sort of a combination of those factors, and Jason really brought that into the band and allowed that flow to happen. So yeah, we're really happy with where it's going, and still kind of expanding on what the EP shows as well, into the next sort of batch of songs.
Coming from like radio perspective, I think your new stuff is far more appealing commercially than the Gasoline Inc. stuff. But for some reason, I don't know why, but commercial radio stations are just scared of rock music these days.
Yeah, I think there's waging into that debate that's going on at the moment with some radio stations, that break artists and some that don't. I think at the end of the day, bands can be a little bit closed-minded in thinking that if they don't make it in Australia, they can't make it at all.
Yeah.
And maybe there might be just one outlet that we can do it through in Australia, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't be successful elsewhere. And if the song's good and people connect to it, then you're doing your job, and if that translates to radio play, that's awesome, but first and foremost, it's about connecting with the audience. And it's, in rock, as they say, rock never dies, everything works in cycles. So it's just for us, it's kind of like, it might work a bit better than Gasoline for radio, and that's great for us. But if it doesn't, in Australia, we're not looking at it as the be-all, end-all,
Yeah.
So, we just keep writing it out, man. Put it out there, and hopefully it can build organically.
What was the goal of the EP going into it?
The EP itself, I guess, we wanted to showcase what we do as a band and what we can do, So we wanted to show that we are a rock band first and foremost, which is why I guess the songs kind of got this anthemic kind of quality about them. But at the same time, we wanted to say that, okay, we've also got other songs, and it's just an introduction. It's just an introduction. Come along for the ride. This is just we want you to hear what we're about, but there's more coming. And that's the kind of, we wanted to give them the best songs we had at the time, which is, I think the EP's got a bit of depth to it. In the past, we haven't really done that. And, the idea will be to sort of tour again, maybe another single along the way later in the year. And, reach out to the audience that way.
The thing I found about the EP is that a lot of bands, when they're doing their debut EP, they usually have like one clear-cut single and the rest are sort of just filler. Well, I feel that every track on this EP could have been the first single.
Mate, that's exactly how we thought as well. It was really difficult to decide which track we were going to go with, but we thought, let's make this EP something that we can push a bit longer than just, like you say, one single, which we've done in the past. And a lot of bands make that. We thought it was a mistake that we had to learn from ourselves, that we'd put an EP out, we'd tour a single, and then we'd stop and go, what's next? But we went, you know what? Let's ride this baby out. Let's give them songs that we can just back up one after the other. And it's funny you say that, because the last song on the EP, which is a slower kind of ballady one.
That's your favourite, yeah?
That's my favourite, but it's also, I'm finding a lot of people's favourite.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah.
A lot of people are going, this is my favourite song, I really love it. And, I thought it's a strong song, but it's not one that we could really lead with to start with, because it just, it's summer, we need something that's upbeat, and so we chose Stay Young, but it just shows that down the track we might lead out with, we might tour that song or push that single out. And I guess that's the goal with this EP, is to, not just tour once, it's to keep going back and reconnecting with those people that are finding the songs, something that they can relate to.
I think when you're a rock band, you've got to be pretty gutsy to have your first single like a slow ballad.
You do. And that's right. As a rock band, you have to say, first and foremost, we are a rock band.
Yeah.
And that's why we've gone with Stay Young. But, it's always a good thing to be able to sort of say to people, well, we can play the big up-tempo, anthemic songs, but we can also do this, it's a little bit left of centre or a little bit slower. And it just shows, and that's why we put that song on the EP, Endless Wonder, because we wanted to show people that we've got that side to us as well.
It's always good to end with the slow ones anyway.
You reckon?
Yeah. Anyway, man, you're playing 2 shows in Melbourne in April, as I said. There's a bit of a gap in between them. Are you going to be staying around during that time, or?
Yeah, well, we're going off to Albury and Sydney for a couple of dates. I think on the 14th we're in Albury at the Groove Saint, and on the 15th we're playing the Bald Faced Stag in Sydney,
Okay.
In Leichhardt, I think it is. So we've got that, and there's a couple of little things that we're still working on writing some new songs. We really want to make sure that the launch in Melbourne is our introduction, I guess, to our audience in Melbourne. So we've taken those gaps to really refine our sound. Our live performance. So it's we're looking forward to doing that.
What better place than Cherry Bar?
Well, we've got the Cherry Bar, we've got the Evelyn, and they're really great venues, iconic venues in Melbourne, and we can't wait to get out there, man, and do it.
And we must catch up for a beer soon too, so.
Let's do it. I think you're in Geelong still, aren't you?
I'm still in Geelong. I'll always be in Geelong.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come down there and we'll definitely tee that up, man.
Yeah, sounds good, dude. Is there anything else you want to mention to listeners before I let you go?
Just stay young. Sometimes we can get bogged down with what we call everyday life, which is your regular going to work, paying your bills and mortgage, and we can lose sight of our real happiness and dreams, because society tells us that we can't do it. And I think if we can really remove ourselves away from that conditioning, we can see what really makes us happy, and we can stay young, and we've got that power within ourselves to make that choice. So that would be my thing to the listeners today. Don't be afraid. It's just a choice between fear and love, and follow the love. That's where the answers lie.
Yes, that's it, sir. All right, there you go, guys. Make sure you get a copy of VELUDO's debut self-titled EP. It contains the new single, Stay Young. Check them out on their national tour at either the Evelyn on April 4th or Cherry Bar on April 23rd. And for all the latest news and info, like them on Facebook, facebook.com/VELUDO Music. Once again, Gab, it's always a pleasure, sir, and good luck with the tour, man.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate you having us on, man. We'll speak soon.
Definitely, sir. Catch you later.